So today we're going to go over how to service disc brakes and replace brake pads. This is a floating style caliper. It has only one piston and slides back and forth. To remove it, you will need to remove the two bolts that hold it on. I loosened these prior to this, so we're going to remove the two bolts. Now, important thing to remember is in most disc brake service, you do not need to remove the brake hose from the caliper. The only time that would be necessary is if you were replacing the caliper. If you do have to do that, if you're removing the brake hose, you will want to make sure that you keep track of the sealing washers. There are typically two used, one on either side of the banjo bolt. Make sure you do not lose them, and do not put them on the same side. Make sure there's one sealing washer on each side. But in most cases, you're not going to need to do that. What we are going to do is remove the caliper. You do not want to let the caliper hang by the brake hose. That will stress it out. So you're going to take a piece of mechanics wire, like we have here, and typically on the upper control arm, you will fasten the mechanics wire, and you can hang the caliper to the upper control arm to support it that way, to prevent any damage. So just tie that fast so it doesn't fall and pull on the hose. Next, we are going to inspect the brake rotor, and for this demo, we're going to start by measuring the diameter of our brake rotor. Let me just get that fastened there. We're going to use a brake rotor micrometer, which, if you remember, it will have a point on one side. That's to measure in scores. And you will place that over the rotor and get your measurement down to the nearest thousandths of an inch. That specification must be checked in regards to the manufacturer's minimum thickness to make sure it's not too thin or it hasn't exceeded the discard size. So you'll get your reading and compare it to the discard. If it is below the discard, that rotor needs to be replaced, and that would be the next step. If the rotor is thick enough and passes, you're going to need to move on to measuring rotor runout. Now, on this rotor, it's captured by the wheel and the lug nuts, which we have the wheel removed. You need to secure the rotor to the hub using 2 or 3 of the lug nuts. So we have it fastened down right now to hold it secure. You will use a dial indicator to measure the runout and position that on there. Try and put the needle straight out from the rotor near the outside. Make sure whenever you use a dial indicator, make sure you have preload. Once again, you can zero this if you like, or you can just count the number of lines it moves. You should have a relatively low runout reading. You're going to get the high and low reading in one revolution. So pay attention to where you're at, where you're starting. Turn this slowly. I'll try and do it so you can see. And we're going to be looking for the high and low reading. So right now it looks like we start at 56. Went down to about, let me go back, to 52. Coming back to our first revolution, we're at 56. 50, yeah, just started to go back down, almost 57. So we have about 4 to 5 thousandths of run out on this rotor. You will need to compare that to the specifications as well. As far as measuring our disc brakes, the pads are usually going to be either bonded or riveted. Now, there is this tool out there that some people feel is used for checking disc brakes. I do not recommend this for measuring brake pads on a rotor. The problem is this is going to measure between the pad and the rotor, but the brake isn't necessarily going to be tight to the rotor, and you can't measure in multiple spaces. It also will not work on a riveted brake pad. So these might be fine for checking brakes on motorcycles or small applications like that. I do not recommend them for using them on any cars, trucks, or other heavy equipment. For a bonded brake lining like we have here, we're going to use a bonded brake lining gauge. You will take this gauge and you'll clamp it on the back of the brake pad. It has a pointer that's movable, and that is to zero it. When you zero it on the back and on the shim, it's now going to subtract the thickness of that metal backing of the brake pad. You can then take it and clamp it anywhere on the surface and get your reading. So right now we're reading about 5.5, 30 seconds. Make sure you find the lowest reading, and remember, you won't have a half of 30 seconds. So if this indeed is 5.5 at the thinnest point, it would actually measure 5/30 seconds. You want to measure both brake pads and record the thinnest reading. Do not give 2 brake pad measurements, only 1 per wheel. If it is a riveted brake lining like we have here, you can measure with a tread depth gauge. Make sure it's clean on top of the rivets. Measure to the thinnest point or the lowest reading. Here we're measuring 5 as well. And it looks like our thinnest reading is 5/32 on this riveted brake lining. When you replace brake pads, it will be necessary to retract the piston in the caliper. So to do that, you want to have the outer brake pad removed. The inner brake pad, usually the old one, you'll leave in there. And you will use a tool to press that in. There's a few different style tools. Some look like caulking guns. This one happens to have basically the metal of a brake pad attached to a screw. You'll put that on there. You want to remove the cap to the master cylinder so there's a spot for fluid to retract back. And you'll turn this and push that piston back in. Another part of brake system service or disc brake service that gets commonly neglected is lubricating the anchor pins. We removed the guide bolts that attach this to it, but it has a bushing that is going to slide back and forth on. If you remember, I said this is a sliding caliper. It's important to remove these bushings, push them out of there. You can use the bolt and a punch to drive them through. And you want to apply disc brake grease to lubricate it. It's a very sticky, water-resistant grease. You will paint that on there and then reinstall them. This allows that caliper to continue to slide and not seize up before the next brake service. If this is neglected and new brake pads are installed, it may work okay at first, but these will begin to seize and the caliper will not slide. It impacts braking performance a bit. People don't necessarily notice that. What they will notice is it will cause one brake pad to wear out much sooner than the other. So once that has been serviced, both of the bushings lubricated, the pads can be reinstalled, and you will simply reinstall the caliper to the bracket. Make sure the bushings are pushed in all the way, and then you will torque the bolts to manufacturer specifications. Once that is complete, you can reinstall the wheel. Make sure you have your instructor check your brake installation before you reinstall the wheel to make sure everything's correct. One common thing that can happen is sometimes this brake hose gets twisted, that the caliper's been turned a few times. Make sure that is not twisted. Make sure it's running in a nice, smooth manner and there's no signs of damage.